A few days ago, the publisher ProPublica obtained anonymous leaks from the IRS. Now, those leaks contained how much tax the wealthy elite in the United States actually pay. And as one can guess, the amount of tax that they actually pay is literally next to nothing. What the article shows is how the wealthiest people manage to avoid paying taxes to the system that they have drained of wealth for decades. Only a small fraction of the owed tax money is ever paid. The rich elite have been shortchanging society for billions upon billions of dollars a year. The leaks include the taxes of billionaires like Jeff Bezos, Michael Bloomberg, Warren Buffett, and Elon Musk. Now, what's important to ProPublica here is to show the public what is going on, that these people are paying next to no taxes. Now, most of this, I assume, is not even illegal. It's tax avoidance rather than tax evasion. One is legal, the other is not. And what's important is to get this information out to the public so that they see how skewed the system is towards the super rich. We are doing so quite selectively and carefully because we believe it serves the public interest in fundamental ways, allowing readers to see patterns that were until now hidden. So basically the goal of this was to show how rigged in favor of the rich the system actually is. Of course, if you didn't actually know that by now, your head would have to be buried very deep in the sand. Now what ProPublica here is doing is showing the facts that prove it, like showing the hard data of what's going on, who's paying what, and more importantly, who's getting away with what. Now, it doesn't take a genius to figure out the system is rigged in favor of the rich because there's a lot of philosophical notions and indoctrination around capitalism. But what's important here is to give the raw data to the public with facts that are absolutely irrefutable. ProPublica says it has obtained a vast trove of Internal Revenue Service data on the tax returns of thousands of the nation's wealthiest people, covering more than 15 years. The data provides an unprecedented look inside the financial lives of America's titans, including Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Rupert Murdoch, and Mark Zuckerberg. It shows not just their income and taxes, but also their investments, stock trades, gambling winnings, and even the results of audits. 1. Taken together, it demolishes the cornerstone myth of the American tax system that everyone pays their fair share and that the richest Americans pay the most. The IRS records show that the wealthiest can perfectly legally pay income taxes that are only a tiny fraction of the hundreds of millions, if not billions, that their fortunes grow each year. For example, Warren Buffett's wealth grew by 24.3% between 2014 and 2018. Now, how much in taxes did he actually spend? 0.01% he paid to the government for all of the money that he scooped together. In 2007, Jeff Bezos, then multi-billionaire and now world's richest man, did not pay a penny in federal income taxes. He achieved that feat again in 2011. In 2018, Tesla founder Elon Musk, the second richest person in the world, also paid no federal income taxes. Michael Bloomberg managed to do the same thing in recent years. Billionaire investor Carl Icahn did it twice. George Soros paid no federal income tax 3 years in a row. They did an analysis. According to Forbes, those 25 richest people saw their wealth rise a collective $401 billion from 2014 to 2018. They paid a total of $13.6 billion in federal income taxes in those 5 years. The IRS data shows that's a staggering sum, but it amounts to a true tax rate of only 3.4%. The federal corporate tax rate is 21%. Now compare this image to the average family in the US. In 2011, a year in which his wealth grew roughly steadily at $18 billion, Bezos filed a tax return reporting that he had lost money. His income that year was more than offset by investment losses. What's more, because according to tax law, he made so little, he even claimed and received a $4,000 tax credit for his children. His tax avoidance is even more striking when you examine 2006 to 2018, a period for which ProPublica has complete data. Bezos' wealth increased by $127 billion according to Forbes. but he reported a total of $6.5 billion in income. The $1.4 billion he paid in personal federal taxes is a massive number, yet it amounts to 1.1% true tax rate on his rise in his fortune. Now, the source that gave this data to ProPublica gave it in a raw format. It was not formatted into studies and calculations and stuff like that. They just gave the raw data to them, and then these calculations, these investigations were done by ProPublica itself. Now, you can imagine the capitalist media wasn't very happy about this, and in fact, one of the most outraged was, as you would expect, Fox News, who not only railed against this, but also alleged conspiracy multiple times in the process.
Well, that didn't take long. Less than 6 months into the Biden presidency, the Internal Revenue Service is already at the center of another abuse of power scandal. The left-leaning ProPublica website publishing information from what it says are 15 years of tax returns from wealthy Americans, including Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk. The leaking of confidential IRS data is coming just as Democrats are trying to justify huge new tax hikes, leading many to ask if once again the IRS is being used illegally to serve a political agenda.
ProPublica says they don't know who the source was. They just obtained it from some anonymous person. It's possible that there was a foreign actor who hacked, but the much more likely scenario, given all of the circumstances, is that there was an IRS employee who got a hold of the data, then found a willing publisher, someone who wouldn't care about breaking all of these confidentiality issues, and then purposely leaked it just as in the effort of helping the Biden tax agenda.
And now if you add on to that the possibility that it's being used as a political tool, which is illegal, among other things, isn't there going to be, again, a kind of a popular pushback to this? Your piece goes into the fact that beyond the IRS, there is a politicalization of the bureaucracy. Of course, we saw that hardcore during the Trump administration, where the bureaucracy kind of united against a president in many cases.
What's important here? What ProPublica is doing here that is so important, so significant, is to give the raw data that shows that the system really does favor the ultra-rich. Now, that's laughable to you and I, who are both Marxists, because we've been studying from an ideology that has pointed this out for, hundreds of years, thereabouts. But it's really important to drill this into the head of the average person, that despite any statement by, raising the tax rate or lowering the tax rate, what does it even matter? Donald Trump lowered the tax rate to 21%. But as you can see, some of them are paying only 0.01% of the taxes, so what does it really matter what the tax rate is? They're going to pay next to nothing anyway, which makes the whole thing an exercise in futility. Even as Joe Biden has decided to continue to keep the Trump tax cuts after, saying that he would reverse them back so the corporations start paying their fair amount, it still doesn't matter because they don't even actually pay it. So what's the point? Your tax rate could be 95% as it was way back, which again wouldn't matter because they just don't pay it. There's a million ways for them to get around it. And places like, I believe it was Facebook was using Ireland to hide much of that money, and even the EU went after them for it. So while really this is nothing new to us, this is nothing even shocking to us because we already know. We already know this is how the system works, that maybe the person called the capitalist wields the power in capitalism is fairly obvious. But to the average person on the street, or the average family in America, this is some very shocking news. It frankly shouldn't be shocking. It should be just as obvious to them as it is to us that the rich don't pay their fair share, never have, never will, because, they kind of wield the power in the system. They fund both political parties and, they fund just about, every single person, every politician that's in the government. So you can kind of see how that's, kind of really obvious that that's the way the system works. And that is capitalism, far from any utopian notions that exist in the heads of the average conservative. God, even, let alone any kind of libertarian. So remember that when you're struggling to pay your rent this month, when you have to make tough decisions on what it is that you want to do, if the next time you have to pay out that butchers of a fee for health insurance that a lot of American corporations force you to pay out, unless of course you want to die, just remember that. And let that get you angry. You should be getting angry because you're the one getting screwed, while the person on top with everything doesn't contribute a damn thing. And talks about how capitalism is such a great system because, you know, you earn that wealth and it rewards hard work and, you know, a lot of other lofty notions that don't actually pan out in real life. So remember those numbers. Be angry about it because you should be angry about it. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.